Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Joe number HR-200-4.5. This is what they call a raw steel hinge reinforcement. It's not raw steel. It's certainly steel. It's not raw steel. This is a wipe coat galvanized. If it was raw steel, this would be positively rusted. This would likely be covered in surface rust. We're here in Southwest Florida, and while there's climate control in the building, the average humidity is 6,000% in the summer. And there's really not an instance of that. If that wipe coat galv was scratched off down to the base material, you'd see some rust. But wipe coat galvanized is a very typical and common sort of treatment to do to steel, obviously to prevent it from rusting. But also you'll see manufacturers use it on their doors. You'll get doors, especially doors from Canada. You can get wipe coat galvanized doors from Canada. They won't look gray or red or whatever the color of primer, probably a version or a variant of gray. And the logic is, first of all, why they send them, because I was told once upon a time that it's classified differently from a customs or tariffs perspective. I think it's considered a finished good at that point, or unfinished good, I don't recall. But that's the gyration. But the logic of the wipe coat galvanized product, since we're talking about it, is that I've personally witnessed those doors, or this piece of steel doesn't pick up rust too quickly and easily. And I've had a great uncle. We were all in the door business for generations and decades, and he joked that he could leave that stuff outside in Chicago in the winter all winter long, and it won't have a bit of rust on it at all. But also, those manufacturers will tell you just use primer right over that. You'd want to confirm the type of primer that you're going to use, but no, you do your finish paint right over it, not primer. What I meant to say was, these wipe coat galvanized doors don't require a primer, and that the wipe coat galvanized coating actually represents that step, and in fact, according to them, would be considered superior. I am not an expert, but I do agree. Anyway, this is a hinge reinforcement. This is a piece of hardware that you're going to use to add a prep to a door frame. First, some dimensions. Overall length, about 10 inch. Overall width, about 1.25 inches. This has a material thickness of 0.175. 0.175 thick is what that is. They say that this is for a 4.5 inch prep. That area that would receive the hinge leaf, I would say that 4.5 would be a very good size for that if I'm spreading that tape measure out. Could you possibly squeeze a 5 inch in there? I suppose you could possibly squeeze a 5 inch onto this plate, but it would be awfully close. And this is what I'm measuring, right to where that flattened area, down to the other flattened area, resides, basically. And it's basically 5 inch, okay? And that's the size, weighs about 0.6 pound, so 0.6 of a pound. What do you use it for? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, where would you use this item? You would use this item when you want to add a hinge reinforcement to a door or a frame, or for that matter, any other piece of hardware that can fit onto this. Maybe the jam bracket portion of an overhead stop. Maybe a strike plate, provided that it will fit here, but also that the offset would be compatible. And that can be modified as well. But the fact of the matter is, you would use this generally to add a hinge prep. You would want a blank one in the instance of having generally locations for screws in your hinge that doesn't match a pattern that you can get your hands on. You might have some unusual hinge that has a a non-template pattern or a zigzag pattern is why. Or it's going to be a situation where you are literally going to drill and tap to this plate the size and in the position that you require for whatever you are attaching to it. That's why you would want a blank one. However, that all has to coincide with compatibility with this offset. This is the HR200. The HR200, they say, is a 3/32 of an inch offset. So what I take that to mean is from this face here to this face here, it ought to be 3/32 of an inch. So about 96 thousandths. And I'm going to, yeah, we can just fit my caliper quite closely to it. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm placing my caliper here, and I'm pushing that in far enough to where I'm basically flush with the unit itself. So right about there. And indeed, 0.096, that might be 0.097, don't really know. But the bottom line is, that's what that offset is. So, does this work for you? Let's see if we can determine that. We know from where you're going to attach it to the inside of the door or the frame to where the hardware would sit would be 0.096, 3/32 of an inch. How thick is your hardware? Whatever that thickness is. Keep that in the back of your head. Now, the next question is how thick is what you are attaching this to? How thick is that item? So if you had a 16 gauge frame, which I think it's about 60 thousandths. I never seem to remember that. 16 gauge steel thickness is I'm just pulling up a chart. And I've pulled up a chart called sheet metal gauges from a fastener supplier. 16 gauge is 0.0635. 0.0635. So, if we've got 0.0635 plus 0.096, that equals 0.1595. If you were going to install a typical full mortise standard weight hinge, that's 0.134. You'll take note that that is about 12 thousandths of an inch greater than the thickness of that hinge. So 12 thousandths would be a 32nd of an inch divided by 3. Okay, so a 96th of an inch. Probably not going to be too crucial, especially in hollow metal work. So if you have a product that's about 140 thousandths, plus or minus 10 thousandths, I think you're going to be in real good shape with this. Okay, that's where you can use this. Now, if what you have is thicker, pad that. Put something underneath there. If what you have is thinner, I don't endorse it, but we've done it countless times. You get that on your anvil portion of your vise, and you just start flattening it out, is the bottom line. That's very non-scientific, but in the hands of the right person, they can make that offset what they need it to be. So there you go, is how that would be. Yeah, right on. So that's in general where you're going to use this item. I can't think of people who've used it for other purposes because other pieces of hardware have different thicknesses. Think of a concealed hinge by Sauce. That's going to have quite a thickness, a very great offset on those. Strikes, lock tabs, whatever it's going to be, different thicknesses. But we've discussed where you may use this one. Let's switch to the screen view now, and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are indeed looking at. We have some images down below. That's what the unit looks like. Just a piece of steel that's been put into a sheared and put into a die. Would be my guess. A little close-up view showing that offset. from here to here, showing the bend. It's turned upside down, by the way, but showing the bend. And then a macro view of what the surface of the material looks like. Okay. Now, extended description information, 7 gauge, the size, the offset, raw steel. There's a template, which is a technical drawing of the item. Shows, what it looks like. The 5/16 diameter something here. There is no hole in this at all. If there was a hole, you would certainly use that to plug weld it closed. If you're going to, if you don't have access to the back side of the frame, you'll want to drill a hole in it and plug weld it, would be my guess. Other dimensions here, 0.094. Okay. Now, there's also a table down below. This table is a recreation of what you would see in the manufacturer's catalog, except in all of this, we have given you links to the different products with their descriptions, and then a link to the video review as they occur. Now, there are others that are, quite frankly, more common. And the ones that are going to be pretty common are going to be obviously the 4.5-inch reinforcements that you're going to see here. Okay, 4.5-inch reinforcement, the HR130, the HR120. Okay, same 3/32 offset. You get into the thicker hinge, a heavyweight hinge, that offset will change slightly. 3.5-inch, 4-inch, 4.5, 5-inch hinge. They have blank ones as well. They do recommend a 210-5 for the 5-inch version. Squeezing a 5-inch onto that is not what they obviously intended. Other items are here. 6 inches here as well. I'm not aware of anyone else who provides a 6-inch reinforcement. It's nice to be able to buy these from the factory. It's just easier to let someone else make them who has all the tooling to do it. And that's why people buy these hinge reinforcement plates. Okay, there is a link below this video here to the product catalog where you can pull up all of the filler plates, mounting tabs, and signs. They dump all that in the same catalog. I'm going to scroll past the filler plates and conversion plates to their page where they have all of these items, and you can see how we recreated that table that's here. But in this catalog, you'll be able to see many other items that pertain to the hollow metal industry. So if you are related to that, even in a peripheral sense, you might want to familiarize yourself with this catalog. Sometimes it's hard to get your hand on glazing bead right away. They've got it. Pipe anchors, they've got those. Spreader bars in both L and U shape. Anchors, full sleeve and flat plate reinforcements for closers and other hardware, etc. There's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page, and when you click on that, you'll be able to pull up not only all of the Danjo products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's page as seen here, the full product catalog as seen here as well, and that same full product catalog broken into subsections. If you know the name Danjo at all, you probably do for their wraparound plates or their latch protectors. But take note, they make many other things, such as pivots, bolts and latches, ladder pulls, hinges, door stops, things of that nature. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. In conclusion, a pretty nifty company Danjo is. They have a relatively petite footprint within the industry, by my reckoning, but they have a comprehensive offering of products. They're backed by knowledgeable people. The person you speak to on the phone can usually tell you the lead time, the cost, where's my stuff, when will I get my stuff, how long will that stuff take to get, things of that nature. Pretty decent outfit. You rarely don't get an answer right away from the first person that you speak to. They've been around in the business forever, and their command over the subject matter proves that point. Any questions on the Donjo HR-200 4.5 inch or any other Donjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.